She was only 5 years old. No screaming, no crying, just one quick glance over her shoulder when her parents weren't looking, one wrong step into the forest. And then, Lily was gone. It was early winter, and the Montana wilderness was colder than usual, bitter wind, and the ground already beginning to freeze. Her family thought she was just wandering nearby. But an hour passed, then 3, then 9. No footprints, no sound, no response from the vast, silent forest. The police were called. Search teams, drones, tracking dogs. They swept every inch of the rugged terrain. But when nature turns cold and silent, it's frighteningly good at swallowing all traces of human presence. And Lily, so small, there was no way she could survive more than 24 hours out there. Right? The first day passed with hope. The second, with despair. By the third, they were preparing for the worst. Then, a call crackled over the radio from the northwest. A flight team had spotted something unusual, a small shape nestled in the deep snow. They dropped altitude. A child, clothes torn, skin pale and blue, unconscious. But what truly left them frozen in place were the creatures standing around her. Six gray wolves, large, powerful, silent, had formed a circle around Lily's motionless body. No growling, no attack, no attempt to flee. They just stood there, as if they were guarding her. And then, as the rescue team approached, one of the wolves slowly stepped forward, positioning itself between Lily and the humans. It didn't snarl, it didn't bare its teeth, it just looked. A look that one rescuer would later describe as not wild instinct, consciousness. The question wasn't just, how did Lily survive? It became, why didn't the wolves harm her? Or more accurately, why did they protect her? This is a true story. And what the cameras captured afterward changed everything we thought we knew about wild instinct. Glacier National Park, late fall. Golden leaves still clung here and there to the dry pine branches, but the air had already turned sharp. Biting and clear, a sign that winter was coming early. A small family of 3, father, mother, and their 5-year-old daughter, Lily, had chosen to spend the weekend here, a short getaway before snow blanketed the forest completely. Lily was a lively child. Smart, curious, and especially fond of animals. In the photo taken just before the trip, she clutched an old teddy bear, a birthday gift from her grandmother, and grinned wide under the towering pine trees. The trip began peacefully. They set up camp near a familiar trail, lit a fire together, toasted bread, and shared jokes. Just minutes after lunch, Lily stepped off the blanket to play with a stick she had picked up along the way. Her father, tending the fire, turned away for only 10 seconds. 10 seconds. That's all it took for a child to disappear into the forest. At first, it was a gentle call. "Lily?" Then louder. "Lily, where are you?" But the trees didn't answer. There was no reply. No small footsteps running back toward the fire. The parents split up to search. 1 hour passed, then 2. The sky turned to lead. Wind picked up in sudden bursts, and then it began to snow, sooner than any forecast had warned. The first snowflakes drifted gently, but with each passing minute, the snow thickened, footprints blurred, and eventually vanished. The first night passed in cold and despair. By morning, authorities had been called. Park rangers, K9 units, even helicopters joined the effort. A perimeter was locked down around Hidden Lake, the last place Lily was seen. One ranger stood quietly, staring at the photo of the girl, taken just hours before it all began. A child, beaming with joy, cheeks flushed pink from the cold, hair tied loosely to one side, holding her old teddy bear, too small to withstand Montana's bitter cold, too fragile to survive alone in the wilderness. Helicopters hovered low above snow-laden treetops. Below, scattered tracks stretched across the forest floor, some very small, likely Lily's. But among them were others. Paw prints, large, deep, heavy, embedded firmly in the snow. Something had been following her, and no one dared say aloud what everyone was beginning to fear. 3 days had passed. The forest was now completely white. Trails had lost their shape, buried under layers of snow. Visibility was so poor that even low-flying aircraft could see only a few hundred feet below. But the search continued, not because of odds, but because of hope. Fragile, fading, but no one dared to let it go. That morning, the sky cleared unexpectedly. A rare beam of sunlight broke through the heavy cloud cover. A helicopter pilot, while circling over Pine Run Valley, a region barely searched due to its harsh terrain, spotted something unusual against the snow, a pale blue patch. A child's jacket. He radioed in. The helicopter dropped lower. And there, in the middle of an open, snow-filled clearing, was a tiny figure. Lily. She sat curled into herself, head resting on her knees, arms wrapped around something, her old teddy bear, soaked through and crusted with snow. Her body was nearly still, the only movement a faint shiver with each fragile breath. But she was alive. And then, the rescue team saw them. Not one, 6 gray wolves. They stood just a few feet from Lily, forming a silent arc around her. Like guardians, like sentinels, thick fur bristling, yellow eyes glowing in the reflection of the snow, no howls, no sudden moves. Just stillness, an eerie, impossible stillness. At first, they thought they were hallucinating. Wolves, by instinct, don't stay near humans. They hunt, they flee, or they attack. But these wolves? They did nothing, no threat, no fear, no retreat. As one of the rescuers stepped closer, the largest wolf, silver around the muzzle, broad-shouldered with a scar over its left eye, moved forward. One step. The entire team froze. A chill ran down their spines. The wolf stared directly at the man, unblinking. Then it gave a low growl, not aggressive, not hostile. A warning, don't come too close, don't touch her yet. But then it stepped back. One step, then another. No sudden motion, no turning away, just a quiet, measured exit. The others followed, one by one, slowly, gently, until only Lily remained, curled in the snow, untouched. And the sound of human footsteps racing toward her. A female rescuer, Sarah, dropped to her knees beside her. "Lily, can you hear me? Sweetheart, can you hear my voice?" The child didn't respond at first. But when Sarah gently touched her shoulder, Lily's eyes opened, purple with cold, but conscious. And what she whispered next, barely audible, more breath than words, froze everyone in place. The wolf mother said, "Don't be scared. They were keeping me safe while I slept." 2 days after Lily was rescued, a park ranger named Andrew came across a trail camera that had been set up earlier in the fall to monitor deer and bear movement near Pine Run Valley. The device had been placed far off the main hiking routes, an area no one had really considered when the search first began. When the memory card was brought back to the rescue station and loaded onto a computer, no one expected much. Maybe a few blurry shots, maybe a wild animal passing in the night. But then, the first image appeared. Night 1, 7:42 p.m. Darkness had fully settled. Snow was falling heavily. The scene was lit only by the infrared glow of the trail camera. A small figure appeared on the left side of the frame, Lily stumbling through the forest, her coat worn thin, clutching her teddy bear, her face almost completely drained of color. She collapsed beside a fallen tree, shivering, then broke into sobs. Her muffled cries echoed faintly through the wild. And then, from the right side of the frame, a large dark shape approached. A wolf. It moved slowly, each step heavy but measured. No growling, no signs of stalking. It stopped just a few feet from the little girl, and then it laid down, resting its head gently on its front paws, eyes fixed on Lily. Not moving, not leaving. Everyone in the monitoring room held their breath. Night 2, 1:27 a.m. The camera activated due to motion. This time, there were 3 wolves. One stood about 5 steps away from Lily, head held high, ears perked, as if standing guard. The other 2 moved in slow, alternating circles, not in a tight, predatory pattern, but something closer to patrolling. By now, Lily was curled up in a makeshift nest, built from sticks and compacted snow. No one knew who or what had created it. In the footage, one of the wolves approached, so close it could have touched her. It leaned in, sniffed the air gently near her face, then turned away. No signs of aggression. Not a single howl throughout the entire clip. An older ranger had to stand from his seat. "I've been doing this for 30 years, he whispered. "I've never seen anything like this." Night 3, 4:11 a.m. The footage began with a nearly empty frame. Snow had fallen so heavily it nearly blanketed the forest floor. Then, from the left edge of the screen, the large wolf with the scar over its left eye entered the frame. In its mouth was a rabbit, already dead. It placed the prey down gently near the edge of the space where Lily lay, then stepped back. Not once did it touch her. There was no howling to summon the pack, just a quiet, deliberate act. Moments later, the wolf lay down again, its back to the forest, its face turned outward, a posture, like a sentinel. The video continued for several minutes, capturing nothing more than the soft fall of snow. Snowflakes slowly settled on the wolf's back and on the thin coat wrapped around the sleeping child. And between these 2 beings, so different in kind, there was something wordless being shared. Presence, trust, a kind of instinct that went far beyond anything science has ever dared call natural. When the footage ended, the entire room fell silent. A female rescuer began to cry. A wildlife biologist repeated just one sentence. I can't explain this. This isn't survival instinct anymore." The very next day, the video was sent to the Montana Wildlife Authority. An emergency panel of experts was assembled. Many began calling it evidence of advanced cognition in apex predators. But for Lily's parents, only one thing mattered. Their daughter was alive, and something or someone had chosen to protect her, not harm her. When asked later about what she remembered, Lily said just one thing. "I remember the warm belly of the wolf mother. She lay against my back all night. I wasn't cold." The small room inside the ranger station was completely silent. The computer screen was replaying the video everyone had already seen. But this time, Lily's parents were sitting in the front row. The mother clutched her husband's hand tightly, eyes unblinking. The father sat rigid, stone straight, his jaw clenched so tight that the muscles at both temples twitched visibly. And then the clip played. Lily lying in the snow, tiny and still. The alpha wolf stepped forward and gently laid the dead rabbit on the ground. It was a moment so strange, so sacred. It felt as if nature itself had made an offering of flesh and blood to a fragile life. The mother lowered her head into her hands. She began to cry. Not loudly, but her entire body trembled. The father didn't cry, but his lips were pressed so tightly they began to bleed. And when the camera showed the wolf lying down beside his daughter, as if to keep her warm, he could no longer hold it in. His hands shook as they covered his face. It was watching over her, like a mother would. No one in the room laughed. No one tried to hold back their tears. After a long, heavy silence, a wildlife expert, Dr. Julia Hansen, known for her logic and toughness, finally spoke. Wolves don't do this. They're predators. A child, especially unconscious, weak, would normally be part of the food chain. But this wasn't survival instinct. This was caretaking. It was maternal behavior. But coming from something science hasn't found a name for yet. After a few days in the hospital, Lily woke up. She was weak, spoke slowly, but her eyes were still as clear as a winter morning. A reporter gently asked, "Were you scared, being with those wolves?" Lily looked down at her hand. In it was a long, soft white fur, pressed carefully between two layers of clear plastic. She hugged it to her chest, then looked up and said, "I wasn't scared." They weren't scary. They were warm. That sentence, so light, like a breath, sank deep like a call from the ancient heart of the wild. The entire studio fell silent. The live show coordinator quietly took off his glasses and wiped his eyes. Later, a crew member would confess, "I've filmed hundreds of survival stories, but I've never seen one that felt like they were chosen to survive." The white fur Lily kept, according to experts, belonged to an old alpha wolf, a rare one, previously captured only once on a trail camera 3 years ago. Back then, it appeared only once, and then vanished. But now, that single fur, the only thing Lily brought back from the forest, has become a symbol of something no one can name, yet everyone understands. Not a miracle, not magic, but a moment when nature saw a human and chose to let her stay. A year had passed since that day. Lily was now a year older. Her hair had grown longer, her skin had regained its color, and her eyes still shone bright. But there was something quieter in them now, something deeper than what childhood usually holds. As if she had seen a part of the world that adults hadn't yet learned to understand. The family didn't return to Glacier National Park right away. They needed time to heal, to get used to the sound of wind howling through the night again, and to believe that Lily's survival was truly real, not a fairy tale. But the following winter, during Christmas week, they decided to go back. No fanfare, no announcement, just the three of them, mother, father, and daughter, in a single car heading into a snow-covered park, the place where everything had once ended, and somehow also begun again. They walked along the old trail, the same one where Lily had once disappeared. The landscape seemed unchanged. The old pine still leaned to one side, Patches of ice stretched between the roots, and the air carried that same rare, heavy stillness. Lily walked a few steps behind her parents, both hands tucked into the pockets of her light brown coat. Inside those pockets was still the white fur, the one she had kept for an entire year, pressed into her journal, placed by her pillow, and never allowed anyone else to touch. They stopped at the edge of the forest, the very place where the rescue team had once found her. No one said a word. Her mother knelt down, placing a hand softly on the snow, as if to thank this place through the silence of her gratitude. Her father bowed his head, eyes reddened. And Lily, still standing a few steps away, looked out at the snowy clearing before her. The wind stirred gently, whispering through the trees. And then, it happened. From the farthest edge of the woods, a white shape emerged. Slow, certain, silent. A wolf. Not as large as it had been the year before. Its fur had grayed further. Its eyes still shone, but softer now. Each step was steady, deliberate, as if it knew exactly what it had come to do. The family stood frozen. Lily didn't run. She didn't call out. She simply reached into her coat pocket, took out the white fur, held it in her small hands, and walked forward to a smooth patch of snow. She knelt down, gently placed the fur on the snow, carefully, like setting an offering on an altar, and whispered, "Thank you." No explanation needed. No reason required, just a simple thank you. From a small heart to a life that had chosen not to harm, but to protect. The wolf stood there for another minute. The wind brushed through its fur, sending soft ripples like clouds drifting over a still lake. Then it blinked once, a slow gesture, almost like a nod, turned and disappeared into the forest, as if it had never been there. No howl, no glance back. Lily watched until its shape faded completely into the snow. Then she turned around and took her mother's hand. As they left the park, none of the three spoke much. They didn't need to. In the car, Lily stared out the window, her eyes fixed on the endless rows of trees passing by. In the palm of her hand, she still held the warmth of the snow. Where the white fur had once touched, her parents didn't ask anything. They knew some things aren't meant to be explained, only held. The next day, heavy snow returned. Glacier National Park closed early due to a forecasted blizzard. While rangers made rounds to secure the stations, one of them, Andrew, noticed something unusual. A single white fur strand resting on a rock near the forest where Lily had once been found. And beneath the rock, tiny footprints from a little girl. No one could explain it. No one needed to. Because for those who had lived this story, they understood. Sometimes the line between humanity and nature isn't drawn by reason, but by the heart. And in the heart of a 5-year-old girl, once guarded by a pack of wolves in the frozen forest, faith didn't die, it was chosen. What happened in that forest challenged everything we thought we knew about the wild. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who still believes nature protects, that compassion isn't only a human trait. Subscribe to our channel for more real moments where the line between instinct and love becomes almost impossibly thin.